It's the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Thursday, September the 12th. Good morning, Fleetwood Mac Dreams right there to kick off another lovely day. I could listen to Stevie Nicks every morning. In fact, I'm thinking while I'm listening to that, I should set that to be my my alarm clock. That's a nice, easy way to get into the day. But then I think I'd probably just sleep right through it. Truth be told, I need like Sabbath. If I'm going to go with a musical alarm, it's got to be a little tougher than Fleetwood Mac. Okay, got that off my chest.
Yeah, that's not going to bolt you out of bed.
It's really not going to bolt me out of bed. Everybody okay today? Everybody all right? Ryder, did you have a nice night last night?
I had an excellent night last night. It was my anniversary. We went to the Eagles Club. We drank some beers. Yes. Yeah, it was fantastic.
Nice. All right. Now that we've got the important stuff out of the way, here's your top 5 at 6, the things you need to know to get your day up and running. This is a historic day possibly, because today will be the first ever commercial, non-government ordered spacewalk in the history of space exploration. Billionaire Jared Isaacman and a SpaceX crew trainer named Sarah Gillis are going to take this spacewalk. Now, the plan, they're going to float just outside the hatch of the Polaris Dawn rocket. 2 other crew members will monitor the safety and oxygen tethers to reach them. They won't be free floating. They will have a 12-foot, what they're calling umbilical cord connecting them. The point of this spacewalk is to test the suits being worn for how easy they are to perform basic tasks. Yeah, right. The point of this is to give a billionaire his first drug-free erection in over 10 years.
I'll take it. Yeah.
That's the point of this spacewalk. Make no mistake about it. The idea, according to Isaacman, is to learn as much as we possibly can about this suit and get it back to the engineers to inform future suit design evolutions. Oh, really? You think you're going to know more about that suit's capabilities than an astronaut?
No, the astronauts haven't been doing excellent lately, but hey, space is sold out. I love it, man. We need a place to send the idiots, so let's start launching them into space.
Yeah, someone's got to take all that plastic to space forever.
There you go.
Number 4 on your top 5 at 6. The University of Minnesota is about to have robots all over campus. Robot food delivery systems, little white 4-wheeled pod things all over campus. Here's a little audio to explain more.
Find yourself on the U of M's Twin Cities campus, you may come across robots.
Yeah, it's part of a pilot program.
Hey, they seem excited about this. Behind me is the Kauffman Memorial Union, where 3 fast food restaurants are part of this program. Don't be surprised if you start seeing these robots. Up to 10 of them will be part of this.
It definitely makes an impact. I want my food quick if I'm hungry, right?
So I'm a college student. I don't have a ton of money, and cost is probably the biggest thing for me. And I just think automated systems such as robots are going to be less expensive than an individual driving their car.
For now, these deliveries will stay on campus. The robots are supposed to stay on the sidewalk, not go faster than 5 miles per hour, and there is an override function for a person to take over, just in case.
Fun fact, my daughter goes to college in Virginia. Her campus has had these things for years. They're awesome.
Really?
When we went and toured James Madison University in 2021, I saw one coming down the sidewalk, and I was like, "What the hell is that?" And they're like, "Oh, it's just robots." And then we were talking to the kid was giving us a tour, and he goes, "Yeah, I order Chick-fil-A all the time. It comes in the robot to my dorm." I'm like, "That's the coolest thing I've ever seen."
I wonder what a cherry bomb would do to that if you just taped a cherry bomb to it. I'm just saying, they like fireworks in Dinkytown, and now you've got a 5-mile-an-hour robot with fast food in it trickling down the sidewalk. Sounds like a good time for juvenile delinquency.
I think it's going to be like the scooters where they just chuck them into the river.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
I can't wait to attack one. I'm going to drag one down the street behind my pickup, I think.
Number 3 in your top 5 at 6, a study of 4 generations found, according to everyone, in my experience, I've learned, they're saying adulthood starts at 27.
No one told my dad, I guess.
No, oh man, make no mistake about that. That's when life apparently, in quotes, gets real. This is boomers, Gen Xers, millennials, and Gen Z all saying adulthood around 27. You're paying all of your own bills. You're financially independent. You are putting responsibilities over, quote, having fun. I have to tap out of this conversation. I was at my absolute apex of paying no attention to reality when I turned 27.
Mm-hmm.
So 1992 is a heady year for me. I'm just saying. I'm tapping out. But what do you guys think? 27? Were you any brighter than at 26 or any dumber than at 28?
No brighter than I am now, to be honest with you. But 27 popped the first kid, Taylor the Magnificent. So I guess life came popping out of a woman's womb.
Okay. Okay. Very good. Ryder?
I think I pushed that like an extra 10 years. I didn't get married till I was like 38, so definitely had the delayed adolescence going on.
Very nice. Tony, anything from the year 27 that strikes your, that pops up in the memory bank?
Yeah, that's when I first learned to read.
See?
Yeah,
no more picture books for you.
Yeah, he just used a 3-syllable word, too. Good boy.
Very impressive. Number 2 on your top 5 and 6. At Purdue University, at a football game, they had one of those kicks for cash. They brought a student onto the field. If he could kick a field goal from 20, 30, and 40 yards in 30 seconds, he would get a car, a 2-year lease for free. And he did it. He hit the 20, he hit the 30, and he hit the 40, which is way more difficult than you might think.
Yeah.
2 days after he gets celebrated and the stadium goes crazy and he wins, the car dealership lets him know, we reviewed the tape. Your third kick was 5/100ths of a second late.
Oh, good public relations, car dealership. Yeah, that makes you look awesome, doesn't it? Here he is.
They were like, can you at least hit one? I go, yeah, I know I can hit the 20. So that one went like right down the center. I remember that, no problem. And then I remember moving back to the 30. And after like the third or fourth one, I'm like, I just keep putting them in the same spot. I just keep running on too straight. I'm like, I'm running out of time. So I just took another step over. And I'm like, I hope this is it. And it went through. And then got back to the 40 with like, the ball got down with like a second left. And I heard everybody yell. So I'm like, okay, it went in.
Yeah.
It went in. By the way, then he went public with the fact that they took the car away. Then they reversed course and said, okay, we'll give you the 2-year lease or $5,000 in cash. And his response was, my car's fine. I'll take the cash. Nice job.
Sure. Hell yeah.
I like that. Number 1 on your top 5 and 6, John Bon Jovi. Put your cape away. You don't need to do anything heroic today because yesterday, while shooting a music video in Nashville, Tennessee, he was on the John Siegenthaler pedestrian bridge. I lived in Nashville for 20 years. I've walked across that bridge many times. He came across a woman who was about to jump off into the Cumberland River, and Bon Jovi spoke with her, convinced her otherwise, helped her climb back onto the pedestrian bridge, saved this woman from jumping to her death. Well,
all he had to do was promise to stop singing.
Wow. Well, I mean, he could have mentioned to her that she was literally 9 feet over the water. But, listen, no, I'm kidding. It's a little higher than that. No, I mean, great work, man. A lot of people would see a woman doing that and go, I wonder what she's doing on the outside of that walkway, and just watch her go. No, Bon Jovi sprung into action. He knew what to do. Hats off to you, John. I sincerely hope this woman gets a turnaround here, and, it was all worth it. I want to say good morning to our friends in Chaska.
Oh, yeah.
Come on, Chaska.
Big curling club down there, home of the Crooked Pint, to where Taylor may serve you a beer if you behave yourself.
Uh-oh, Taylor's up in Chaska. You know what to do. Go tip your servers, people. How about this? Okay, we always think about, crashing a wedding. I mean, wedding crashing, so what? Look, there's a movie that shows you how to do it. That's easy. However, wedding destroyer, we've all seen the movie Wedding Crashers, or at least I'm sure we all know what it is. We remember it. It was a big hit. It was very funny. Crashing a wedding, sure, go for it. I mean, occasionally people get caught. A woman in October of last year was arrested in Mississippi. She had been going to multiple weddings and stealing gifts from newlyweds right after they tied the knot. She would find the reception. The gifts would be on a table. She'd get in there. She was bilking newlyweds. I mean, there's ways to do it. There's ways to not get caught. Sometimes you just want to go and enjoy the catering and a couple of cocktails and dance with a stranger.
Yeah, that's not on the Wedding Crasher rules you need to know. Never leave a fellow crasher behind. Blend in by standing out. Always save room for cake. No stealing involved.
No,
maybe
I mean,
a heart or two.
Going way over the top with that. But I mean, if you want to be a good old-fashioned wedding crasher, I'm not going to. They always have too much food. There's always too much champagne. Go for it. Have fun. But now, a gentleman in Spain, he posted as a joke an ad offering not to come and crash weddings, but to rescue brides from their wedding in case they were getting cold feet. He said, his ad said, if you have doubts or don't want to get married or don't know how to refuse, I will object to your wedding. Just tell me the time, place, and date. He shows up, and in every wedding, invariably, the officiant will say, is there anyone here who has any reason why these two should not be wedded? And then he stands up, pretends he's an old flame, objects strenuously, says he's still in love, and then the bride runs off with him. Or at the very least, there's a really awkward moment, and the bride says, I need time to think. The wedding's off. They get out of it. This was his idea of a joke. Dick. Yeah. Well, he put it in there as a joke. The phone rang. He got a call. He's been hired. He's continuing to be hired for 500 euros a pop. That's $550. He says he's booked through the end of the year.
For God's sakes.
Why don't they just not get married? Why don't they just not show up to the wedding? Why don't they just say, you know what, it's not working out. I've got some cold feet. Don't want to do it.
Culturally speaking, maybe it's a little tough to go, I've changed my mind. I don't love you anymore. I mean, maybe you went, I don't know. It's a matador culture. Who knows what the guy's going to do? But here it is. This guy's had some problems doing this, of course. He had to add an extra $50 fee for every time someone slaps or punches him.
How much for a bullet?
Yeah, jeez, we're going hardcore. I'm just saying. Sometimes it's like sometimes a prank call comes to you. You know what I mean? You answer the phone and then you have fun with the person who mistakenly dialed your number. This guy, you just put a joke ad in the paper. And now he's loaded. He's making money. He's ruining relationships. He's having a great time. Good for him.
All right.
Just saying. I mean, I can't imagine he's going to be at this for very long. I don't think this is a long-term plan, but short-term, hey, man, go have some fun. Get yourself. And by the way, I mean, I can only imagine the catering at a Spanish wedding. Man, do they know their way around the kitchen over there. Time to look back. On this day in 1984, Michael Jordan signed his first professional contract to play basketball with the Chicago Bulls. 7 years, $6.3 million. His rookie salary, $455,000. A month later, he signed a deal with Nike. That was for $2.5 million. And then they released the Air Jordan sneaker in April of 85. And ever since then, he's now approaching $2 billion in Nike money. So, that rookie contract was a little light, but he's done okay.
Yeah, he's getting by.
Nike's goal was $3 million in the first 3 years. They did $126 million in the first 1 year. So, yeah, good job signing up Mike there, Nike. On this day in 1999, 3 years after the Cleveland Browns moved to Baltimore to become the Baltimore Ravens, a new incarnation of the Cleveland Browns returned. And oddly enough, the NFL treated the Baltimore Ravens like an expansion team, and they treated the Cleveland Browns as if they had just gone on vacation for a few years. So if a Ravens player set a record for the team, it didn't count for the old Cleveland Browns. It was just brand new Baltimore Ravens. So the Browns, literally, like they were treated like, oh no, it's the same old Cleveland Browns. And then it turned out to be true because they started back losing to the Steelers 41-0.
God love them. Welcome back, Browns. Still, after all this time, welcome back.
Nothing says the Browns are back like losing to Pittsburgh by 41 points.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. You're listening to the KQ Morning Show. Steve, Zep, Tony, and Ryder on 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. You know, every time I hear that song, I'm like, John Fogerty had no idea when he wanted this song to end. He just kept trying. Finally, it's like, oh, screw it. We're at 2 minutes and 20 seconds. I'm out. That's it. Hey, it's September the 12th. Good Thursday morning, one and all. And especially, I just want to say good morning to everybody in Cottage Grove. Grove, Minnesota.
Yeah.
What about it, Zepp? Lay it on me.
I know, it's just a pleasant sounding place, isn't it? Cottage Grove.
It really is. Yeah, it's
I know
nice.
They have the big food truck festival coming up there. Somebody tipped me off to that. I think it's... Is it Saturday? I believe it's Saturday, the big food truck festival at Cottage Grove, because I like to go out to those things, man. And then you can't make up your mind. There's only so... It's like being at the fair. Only so much room in your gut. How many food trucks can I hit and which ones?
The first time I ever saw a block full of food trucks, I remember, and to your point, I was eating a lot of food, but in my mind, it just must be like sample sizes because it's out of trucks. Yeah. I ate like 11,000 calories. I just went from one to the next. I was like, I'll have that burrito, and then I'm like, that grilled cheese looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh, whoa, a lobster roll. Yeah, let me try that. And then I'm like, wait a minute, I'm eating full meals, one right after the other. Big fan of the food truck. All right, Cottage Grove, we appreciate you. And speaking of, all those great things, there's nothing I'm more worried about making. Speaking of a lobster roll, just generally speaking, seafood, it freaks me out. I'm so... You can overdo it so quickly. Yeah. Any type of fish or shrimp or anything I'm ever making that comes out of the water, I just never have confidence. Doesn't matter how many times I do it. There was a time in my life when I'd get those cedar planks and you soak them in water and you stick that salmon on there. Oh, yeah. And I mean, it's like a play school situation. Just hit this button, put it there, put the timer on 9 minutes. It'll be perfect. And it would be perfect. And every time I would be sweating it while still eating a perfectly good piece of fish. I'm like, I don't know. I think I messed up the fish. I'm not a confident cook. That's what I'm getting at. We've all made a lot of mistakes. There's a big post out there. There's a viral post, a very common mistake that a comedian made, and he shared this one online. We'll play a quick second of this. Check this out.
Cinnamon and cumin have too many letters in common to be pretty similar colors and to be in the same cabinet. Related news, if anybody would like my recipe for fajita spiced oatmeal, just let me know. So after I posted that little bit about my dumb oatmeal mistake, I accidentally created one of the funniest comment sections that I have ever seen. Ask me about my cumin and sugar toast recipe. That would pair nicely with my banana bread with a hint of cumin. Fajita granola. Cumin.
And it goes on and on and on. Yeah.
Cumin.
Cinnamon, 9 letters. Cumin, 5. I'm sorry, dude. You work on that prescription if you're getting those confused. Right. It's real simple. Even if they're the same color, the label, one of those words is much longer than the other.
Yeah, cinnamon I feel comfortable with. We just grew up cinnamon buns, cinnamon whatever. Yeah. But cumin, that's one of those mystery spices that stays in the rack. I don't know what that's good for. I'm sure it's good for something, but not something I'd be dabbling with.
Rosemary and I, we work well together in the kitchen, but it's got to be very specific. She is a rule follower. Like if she has a recipe, she goes, she's so specific. Like if we buy anything, any product comes in the house, she reads the instructions. And I'm like, we'll just plug it in. She's like, no, hang on. You don't want to make sure. She's literally and figuratively goes by the book. I am like, what's a pinch? How much is a pinch? What's one man's pinch is another man's fistful. You know what I mean? Like, this smells good. We'll put more of it into this meat sauce. And I have messed up so many things with my inexact artisanal approach to sauces. Yeah. But we were making a bolognese sauce one time, like from scratch. She's like, let's make this from scratch. Sure, let me help. I learned that a clove of garlic and a bulb of garlic are different things.
All right.
Because she said, I need a couple of those cloves of garlic minced up. And I was like, I'm on it. And I got 2 whole bulbs of garlic, which was probably 8 or 10 cloves. And I was just going to town, and she's busy with her thing. And I put it all in there, and we got the sauce up and going. And she even said, she goes, man, how much garlic did you put in there? I go, 2. Or whatever the number was. And I stuck a piece of bread in there just to try it, and I almost threw up right into the sauce. I was like, oh. And then I thought, well, I'll just add some more of the tomatoes and other stuff. Maybe we can just water it down with all the other things, if you will. it would have taken 5 times the amount we had ready to go in there, and you have to pour the whole thing out. It was I think about it all the time because I'm like, man, that was, and it was probably 3 days before I got the garlic out of my mouth.
You don't think you can overdo it with garlic. Here's the thing. If you're just adding it, sprinkling on some garlic, if you're doing that, I don't think, I really like to garlic it up. But I did find out, like you, when you cook with it, it just releases more of the flavor. And it turns out you can overdo it with garlic. Hard to believe. And salt, too. I was one of those guys, like a dash of salt, 1 cup. I just take whatever one was sitting there closest to me and just whip the salt in there because I grew up on salt and butter. I think that was 90% of what Mom cooked. There was meat in there, and then a lot of salt and a lot of butter. But you can oversalt things too. I one time making chocolate pudding for the girls. Hero Dad. I don't make the meals. We pick that up at some fast food place. We have that delivered in a pizza box. But then I'll make the pudding. I'll make the desserts, and I did not have milk. And I substituted the next dairy product that I had. I thought, well, this could work out. It's creamy like pudding, and I substituted sour cream, which nope, 1 bite, no, didn't even try and sell it to the kids. I just said, we're not having dessert tonight. Have a bowl of cereal.
I thought you were going to say you substituted the salt instead of the sugar.
No,
they looked alike.
No, but I did have a friend do that one time. She made a bunch. We got her salt cookies. One of those. I've heard about that.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, people they mistake the sugar and the salt, and that's a big mix-up.
Sugar and the salt in a busy kitchen, I can totally get that. I'm still not over this cinnamon and cumin thing. The letters are just freaks me out. I made a cake one time, and it calls for some vegetable oil. And I remember very clearly thinking, well, olive's a vegetable, isn't it? And I put olive oil into a cake mix.
Oh man!
And let me tell you, that didn't work. That's not what you want. That was and I mean, as a young guy, probably hungover when I tried to eat some the next day. Even it was like, no, you just can't do it. You cannot eat that no matter what you do. I know a person who tried to make some tea, and she put 2 tea bags into a pot, a stove, and then put it on the stovetop and put it on the heat, and never added water.
Oh.
That's a true story. That's a person I went to.
Just the bags.
Oh. She's like, what? I couldn't. Why isn't this working? Like, wow, really? Okay. That's it. You made it into college with that.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
It's a key element.
I had a buddy screw up some of Velveeta mac and cheese because he didn't boil the noodles.
You just put them in dry?
Yeah, and I remember taking the first little spoonful there, and immediately I didn't have to put it in my mouth. I'm like, dude, they're so small, first of all, and you can tell they're just stuck together. I'm like, what's wrong with this mac and cheese? He's like, I don't know, nothing. And then he bit in and I think broke a tooth or something. I'm like, you idiot. Have you never mac and cheese, really? My dad had the big one, though. The $75 brisket. My dad paying $75 for a piece of meat.
Holy
we shoot
crap.
our meat. Yeah, we eat the cheap venison. But he went out for the 4th of July, the big family get-together. And I remember on this huge brisket that he was going to smoke, it had instructions. And I said, oh, Dad, looks like you're supposed to. I know how to cook the meat, Brian. And he was just doing it by feel. And when he cut into it, if you remember National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, when they cut into the turkey, and just the steam came out, smoke was so dry, that was the brisket. And everyone at the table sat there and took a bite and looked at each other, couldn't get through more than one bite. I think I drank 8 glasses of water and a beer trying to get one bite of brisket down. And then the hot dogs came out and onto the grill, and Dad was not in a talkative mood the rest of the day.
651-99 Rock is the KQ Talking text line. This is a common one as well. A text just came in. Big difference between baking powder and baking soda in your waffle batter.
Oh,
the waffles. That can do you in. The driest piece of meat I ever ate. It just reminded me of your stories. This is Rosemary and I are like, not even really dating. We're just hanging out and maybe going to be a couple. And she said, "Hey, come over. I'll make dinner for you." And I thought, okay, great. Now that to her, what she said was, I'm about to put myself in a vulnerable position and try to feed you in an attempt to court you and let you know that I care. I saw that as, okay, cool. Like, I didn't even think twice about it. And in fact, when she said 7 o'clock and my buddy called me at 6 and said, let's go play some ball, I said, sure. I went and go play basketball because 7 o'clock to me means anytime before 9.
Yeah.
And I showed up at this dinner. She literally, this is like a bad rom-com scene. She had the candles, a little bit of wine, blah, blah, blah. Oh, the whole thing around this baked chicken dish she was going to make. She put out a whole dinner and set a table and did the whole thing. And I showed up 90 minutes after I said I would be there. Not only 90 minutes late, from a basketball court.
Did you shower afterwards?
No, straight to her. Oh, I got to get to
Nice.
Rosemary's. Thanks for the run, guys.
Well, that's what the candles are for, right?
And what she didn't recognize or didn't realize is you got to take. She thought she was just keeping the chicken warm, but had it too high in the oven. She pulled it out. It was dry. It was as dry as the word dry can be.
That's on you, Stephen.
But here's the thing. I was 23, 24 years old. It wasn't a Taco Bell bean burrito. I ate it like it was the best thing I'd ever had in my life. I was like, this is real chicken. Oh, my God. I wolfed it down. She couldn't even get a second bite in. She was so mad at me. It was literally a hindrance to the early days of our relationship.
Yeah, well, I mean, you overcame and got fed out of the deal. But yeah, the 90 minutes late on the dinner, I'm surprised the door was not locked.
Listen,
or
man,
you didn't get a chicken, wing whipped at your head when you walked in.
You never know when a ball game's going to break out. You got to be prepared to hit the court at all times, and that's how I've lived my life well into my 30s. I mean, that's just how that rolled.
Yeah.
But again, there's a good tip. A young man, especially a man in his 20s, he'll eat anything. Just give it to him. He doesn't care.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's very, very, very simple. I imagine a lot of us have been in a situation where we weren't so much fearing the Reaper, but we were fearing the Repo Man, which for a young person with wheels, it's kind of the same thing. You lose your wheels, you lose your life at a certain extent. A gentleman in Michigan is in a lot of trouble. He was worried about his car being repossessed, and he took action. And I applaud the effort. I like the creativity, but of course, he ran afoul of the law. Here's a quick news report. This is his neighbor describing what he saw the guy doing.
He was asking if the tow truck was a repo truck, and then we saw him working on his car. Woke up to him putting propane tanks in his car, saying that he was going to blow it up.
So he had a piece of cardboard in his windshield that said, "Don't move, car, it will blow up."
Yes. My man put 2 propane tanks with some copper wiring in the front seat of the car and a sign on the windshield, "Don't move, car, it will blow up." The propane tank in the passenger seats, wires running from the regulator to the car's center console. Then he strapped a second tank to the driver's side, to the driver's side wheel with copper wiring running underneath the car. And then again, the cherry on top, the cardboard sign in the windshield, "Don't move, car, it will blow up."
You effing idiot.
Well.
Surprise, the bomb squad showed up because why wouldn't they?
Yeah.
They evacuated the entire neighborhood for 90 minutes.
Yeah. Bombs.
Yeah, but the good news is it wasn't a bomb. It was just some propane tanks and some wire going nowhere. The bad news is that's still a crime. There's a felony charge, quote, representing or presenting a device as an explosive. And he could be in the can for 5 years for that.
Well, he won't need his driver's license in there, but, maybe he can, apply all that know-how for some prison wine or something like that. Cook it up there in the toilet. Dude, think it out for just a minute.
Prison wine. We need that. That's a song waiting to happen. Prison wine. Spent that girl.
Doing time.
By the way, his car is gone. Now, his neighbors don't know if it was actually repossessed or simply impounded by the police. But either way, not only is he still sitting in a cell somewhere, his car has been taken from him. That's an extreme. Like I say, I appreciate the thought. I love the effort, but you just went a little over the line there, bud.
Yeah, well, lesson learned. Maybe if it's his first offense, you might get the slap on the wrist, make him go out and clean the ditches or something like that, or just take his driver's license away for a while. 5 years.
I'd like to think if I were in his shoes, I would have the wherewithal to Google, is there a crime to pretend you have a bomb or something? I mean, just do a little bit of research into this before you put yourself in that situation.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a buddy that worried about South Minneapolis right there, car getting repossessed, so he came up with the brilliant idea of letting all the air out of his tires every night, had an air compressor that he would then take out and refill the tires with, but it turns out tow trucks have those too, air compressors, so that didn't work. Yeah, they got it. They're onto that little trick.
My second favorite crime story of the day is from Indiana, a Dollar Tree store in Indiana. A woman walks in with her 9-year-old daughter, and they're looking for a gift for the little girl's school teacher. She wants to get a gift for the teacher. It's nice. I guess an apple is passé. You don't go for an apple for the teacher anymore. So at one point, they were smelling candles. And the little girl, she would walk around, she'd open up the box, and she would put the candle to her nose to smell. And she got a whole nose full of something real bad. And in fact, it turned out to be liquid in the box as well. Her mom explains a little bit about what happened right here.
She picked up a candle to smell and tilted it back, and it literally, liquid went down her. And at first we're like, maybe it's just water. And as we're walking through the store, we get a foul smell.
Uh-oh.
And Grace goes, Mom, my shirt really stinks. They told me it's been happening over a month, and they're not able to catch the person doing it. And there's no cameras down the aisles where he is doing it. The manager has asked for corporate to put in cameras in those areas, and corporate just doesn't want to pay for those.
She left out the fun part.
What is that smell?
Yeah.
It's urine.
Yes.
It's pee candles. Now, I have a sensitive bouquet or something. If I go into one of those stores in the mall that's full of candles, I get it overwhelms my sense of smell, and I have to leave. It can really make me nauseous. Like if it's a bunch of perfume, anything with a lot of smells like that, it's too much for me. But this is a whole nother level. I mean, this is a pea candle. Not really known as that. It probably said something like Jasmine Morning, and she's expecting Jasmine Morning. But so if you got that story, if you heard the audio, the manager said, oh yeah, someone keeps peeing in our candle boxes. So you open the box and it's just got pee all over it. And so first of all, let's not assume it's a guy. He's doing this. They say he's been doing it for a month. It could be a gal. You never know. Yeah. Chances are it's a guy. I get it.
I mean, logistically, it's probably a dude.
That's what I'm saying. I get it.
You can't squat over a candle?
You can squat over a candle, but that kind of precision is really difficult. Like, I'd be real impressed with the precision if this was, in fact, a woman.
I bet they're putting it in a container before they come into the store, so it's easy pour. I don't think they're dropping their pants and hosing it down right in the retail outlet.
Like a guy walking around with a Tupperware of lemonade or something like that, just walks in the store and then starts dumping it in the candles. What kind of sick psychosis is that? What happened there?
What kind of sick psychosis would realize that's the method of delivery?
I never thought about the better delivery system. I suppose guys we have a barrel we can shoot, but women, it's like dropping something from the air, be like dropping a bomb or something like that. Not as precise, but again, back to peeing on the candles. We had the guy that was sticking stuff up his keister at the antique store. Remember that? He'd go in with his kilt, just up the bum, and then back onto the shelf.
Right.
That's more disgusting than this. But I just don't. What went wrong? What happened in your life? What did she do to you? What did he do to you?
The entire situation must have been so strange. Here's little Grace. She's like 9 years old. She's got pee all over her shirt. She's freaking out. I give the manager of the store credit because the manager, when they reported it, actually said, here, you can take my shirt. Let's just confuse the girl even more. Let's just make it where she literally offered the girl her own shirt. So it just went from bad to weird all of a sudden.
Yeah, that's Well, it's the manager that's doing it.
Yeah, really. By the way, the mom said she took her daughter down to the health clinic to get her checked out. Which it's pee. You didn't swallow it. It's just on your shirt. Do you really need to involve doctors with this? Maybe so. Maybe you want to make sure it is just pee, but still, seems a little nuts. How does Dollar Tree not have? If it happens once, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
You're like, that was weird. End of story.
Yeah.
If it happens twice, you got yourself a full-blown problem, and you got to be aware of it. The manager said it's been happening off and on for over a month. What the hell? What is going on there?
Somebody needs to stake out the candle aisle. A security camera. I know, Dollar Tree, you're trying to keep your costs down, pass those savings along to the consumer. But, I mean, maybe, I don't know, stake somebody out. Maybe one little cheap, inexpensive security camera.
Just move the candles someplace where you can see them.
Yeah, closer to the counter.
Rearrange the store. That's all you got to do.
I'm rearranging the store for the serial peer. All right. See, this is where
let's just call
we're rearranging society for the lowest common denominator. Okay. Not happening.
Let's just rebrand it Dollar P if that's the case. Because you're issuing a challenge. You're throwing down the gauntlet. Oh, think you can pee on these candles? Not so fast. Let's see you pee in those vases towards the back.
Right.
You're just going to move around and find something else to pee on.
Plus, you're taking all the fun out of buying the candle for the teacher and then peeing on it yourself before you give it to the teacher.
Well, that's exactly right. It's like, yeah, you're definitely. I mean, what's the point? You want to give your candle to a teacher? It's got to be a gag candle, and what better gag is there than a pee candle? I mean, I like where this kid's thinking.
Shocking.
In a few minutes on the show today, we're going to have a game. We like to play games, and we love to give away concert tickets. But check this out. A guy in Ohio joined the ZZ Top fan club back in 1984, and he bought what was called then a lifetime membership. A lifetime membership to the ZZ Top fan club in 1984 was $100, which... maybe ZZ Top didn't know they'd still be around 40 years later. But $100 to me for life sounds like a bargain. That means he gets free tickets for every tour.
Yeah,
he paid $100. He's seen ZZ Top every single tour for 40 years for free.
They're out practically every year. I love me some ZZ Top. I don't know how many times I've seen them. More recently down here at Treasure Island Resort and Casino, by the way. I never thanked Aaron and the entire crew down there for a great promotion and some really rocking seats they provided me. The closest I've been to ZZ Top. But I don't even know what tickets we're going for then. But if you want some good seats, you're nearing $100. If you have a lifetime membership, back then we didn't know tickets were going to go from, $6 to 60 to 160 to...
Sure.
higher, but
hey, by the way, not only did he get free tickets to every tour for life, he got bumper stickers, a signed poster, and a classic 80s wear, a satin tour jacket. Oh.
No, nice. The satin tour jacket. I wonder how many of those suckers they sold.
I don't know, but I guarantee you got one in mint condition on eBay right now. Someone's going to pay a pretty penny for that bad boy.
Yeah, no kidding.
$100 concert tickets for life. That's like in the 80s, airlines used to sell that. Like American used to, it was like $200,000, but it was 2 first-class seats, unlimited for life.
Yeah.
I mean, if I had the dough laying around.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's a lot of money back then. Yeah. But the people who were buying these lifetime packages, they more than got their money's worth, especially now, because there are several people, different airlines had these deals. And every now and again, there'll be a story about a guy who's going after his, 9 millionth mile or whatever. Yeah. And there's people who just literally fly once, twice, 3 times a week for the rest of their lives just because they can. There was a guy in Chicago, and American Airlines rescinded his lifetime pass, and he sued the airline. This is like 10 years ago. It was a really big story. And they said he was abusing the privilege because you're supposed to have like your companion pass. They assume it's going to be you and a family member, you and a friend. This guy was giving flights away to strangers. He was literally like there was all these cases. I read an article in the New York Times. He would meet somebody. He'd bump into somebody. He would be at the airport and be talking to somebody or whatever the case. But like Oh, well, I have my dad's in the hospital, and I can't afford to fly to Topeka to see him. And he'd be like, I'll take you. And he would just go to the airport and go to Topeka or some town he'd never been to help he's just being a good Samaritan. I got a free companion ticket. Let's go. So he's spreading the love. But after a while, American was like, hey, dude, this was hardly the point. And he sued the airline, and I do not believe he prevailed in that one.
They had the big team of lawyers, but I love where his heart was at.
Yeah,
Man.
I also love that he did say in the article, he said, well, I was reading an article one day about Providence, Rhode Island having a great coffee shop, and I thought, I've never been to Providence. I like coffee. I mean, that's how he lived his life.
Nice.
I'll go to Providence today. And he just was bouncing around. I think the concert tickets is actually, if it's your favorite band, though, if you could get one band and get tickets for life to have seen them, like go back to the 80s, who would it have been? I mean, Zepp, would that have been like the Replacements for you, do you think?
Yeah, I think so. Although if you're a Replacements fan, first of all, the tickets were generally pretty cheap.
Yeah,
and I remember just walking in a couple of times because there was always a fight. And as soon as the bouncer started breaking up the fight, you just walked in.
Sure.
Unethical. I would never do that now. But I'd be thinking bigger. I'd be thinking what band would never break up, would stick around. Probably in the 80s for me, it would have been AC/DC. And I would have thought, AC/DC, they're going to, they've just got a new lead singer.
Yep.
They're going to be around for a while. That's a band I want to see for the rest of my life. So maybe AC/DC for me. What about you guys?
In the 80s, that would have been REM for me, 100%, because I was already seeing them every tour, but paying all of, $12 for a ticket and wondering how I was going to get the money for that. Ryder, who's your lifetime band?
Oh, man, I mean... in like the 90s, I would have said Nirvana, but then that went down. So probably got to go with Foo Fighters and just looking back, those are expensive tickets. They've been playing arenas forever. So
yeah, no kidding. Tony, got someone on mind?
I think in the 80s, probably Devo.
Yeah,
just for the odd experience.
Sure, they don't give you a lot though. Devo didn't.
Right.
I even think back in the 80s they toured a lot. I don't remember though.
They did some, but definitely, but by by the late 80s, that was definitely, that had run its course. But ZZ Top, there's no way the guy could have ever thought, there's no way he thought, 40 years from now I'll still be seeing the band. But hey, nice purchase. I'm sure he's not the only one out there.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. It's the KQ Morning Show. Steve, Zepp, Tony, and Ryder on Minnesota's classic rock. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show for Thursday, September the 12th. On October 22nd, the XL Energy Center will host Iron Maiden. Ho, baby. And we got a couple tickets right now we want to give away, and we want Iron Maiden fans. We want real Maiden heads on the game today. So if that's you, call 651-989-ROCK. We're taking callers 9 and 2. Don't come on and if you don't know your Iron Maiden. That's all I'm going to suggest. It's going to be a long morning for you if you're not truly informed and keeping up with Maiden trivia. And while we wait to lock in a couple callers, Zepp, let's talk about Baldwin, Wisconsin for a second.
Oh, yeah, home of Twin Cities skydiving. I've seen Baldwin, Wisconsin, and their dairy fields, and that one manure pit out there from 13,000 feet.
Very nice. Baldwin, Wisconsin, oddly enough, named after Daniel Baldwin, the least successful Baldwin brother. But
I did not know that.
Yeah, Alex, huge, Steven, and then Billy, they're all fairly famous. Daniel kind of gets slipped through the cracks, but they named the town for him. So that's nice. No, hold on. Nope, sorry, that's not true. Nope, I've been informed that is not true.
I thought maybe he came back for the big parade every year or something.
Baldwin, Wisconsin, not named after one of the Baldwin brothers. I'm making a note of that right here. Right. No, population 3957. So you got about 4,000 good folks over there in the village of Baldwin. Nice to have you listening on the morning show today. And with that in mind, let's move forward. Iron Maiden, October 22nd at the XL Energy Center. We have a couple callers ready to rock. Tony, what will they be rocking on today?
Who rocks? It's music industry themed useless trivia and fun facts for you to fire guesses at. And today we're featuring our prize band, Iron Maiden.
Iron Maiden. I love the idea that, based on what you just said, you implied that there is music industry themed useful information somewhere. Because you said this is useless information. Kind of redundant. None of this is ever applicable except if you're trying to win tickets. So we've got two people ready to apply the knowledge. Who is contestant number one?
First up with a cool name is Aldi from St. Paul.
Aldi, good morning.
Good morning.
Favorite band ever? Who is it?
I'd say Black Dahlia Murder, but Joe Satriani.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, that'll work. Favorite team? Any sport?
We'll go with the Vikings. Got to say the Vikings.
Yeah, very nice. All right, Aldi. I'm assuming you're a fan of Iron Maiden as well.
Close enough. It took me a while to get into them, but it finally clicked.
All right. Glad to know that the gears clicked into place. It's time to play Who Rocks. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, Aldi, your first one up. I ask you, an Iron Maiden is A, a non-stick skillet perfect for crafting omelets, B, a medieval torture device consisting of an iron cabinet with a sharp spiked interior to impale a victim when shut, or C, a steroid-fueled weightlifting woman?
Well, you got to go with B.
You gotta.
Attaboy.
You gotta. You don't want to get caught in an Iron Maiden.
I don't know if she's the steroid chick, maybe.
Yeah, one of those. Number 2, vocalist frontman Bruce Dickinson is a certified public accountant, CPA, and handles the band's finances. B, a qualified pilot and flies the band's tour plane. Or C, a trained sommelier and oversees the band's wine cellar.
I know it's B, but I also think C could be the answer, but I'd say B. We'll stick with B.
All right, yeah, trust your instincts.
Very good. I wouldn't be surprised if he was all three, honestly.
Right. I mean, he flies the Iron Maiden, the big jet. They've got a big Boeing Iron Maiden jet. He flies that for the band. Do you think it took him a while to talk the band into it? I mean, even after he had his pilot's license and he came in, he wears the whole flight uniform and everything with the cute hat and puts his hair up in a bun.
The wings on his lapel.
I'm trying to think of a rock singer I've ever met that I would get into a car they were driving, much less a plane they were flying. My God.
Right.
Yeah. All right, Aldi, number 3. Iron Maiden was formed, A, on Christmas Day in 1975, B, when rolling thunder and a lightning storm collided, or C, when the moon was in the 7th house and Jupiter aligned with Mars.
We'll go with 1975.
Stellar day, Christmas Day.
Really? I remember that day. I got Let It Be. Completed my Beatles collection.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. With the red label, not the green. Go figure.
Did you figure it was an album before you opened it?
I did. It did tip me off, yes. The feel, the weight, the shape, the whole thing. I knew what was happening.
All right, Aldi, number 4. Band founder, bassist, and songwriter Steve Harris. A, eats only seeds, nuts, and berries. B, never warms up before a gig. Or C, always checks his horoscope during sound check.
I'm going to say never warms up.
You are correct.
All right.
Oh, and you're doing well. You got one more, my lad. Number 5, Bruce Dickinson was A, arrested for shoplifting bras and panties from Victoria's Secret. B, expelled from boarding school for peeing in the headmaster's dinner. Or C, mauled by a puma and lost 2 fingers while hiking Rocky Mountain National Park.
Oof.
Oof.
I'm going to say he was expelled.
He was.
Wow.
In the din-din.
I mean, heavy street cred for all 3 of those.
Yes.
But
No
any
kidding.
one alone, yeah.
Aldi, 5 for 5, brother. Very well played. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
We're going to put you on hold here for a minute, and then we're going to move on to contestant number 2. Tony, who do we have?
Number 2, also with a very cool name. Say hello to Terrace from Menominee.
Terrace, good morning.
Good morning. How you doing?
All good on this end, my man. Who's your favorite band of all time?
Flotsam and Jetsam.
Wow. I have not heard Flotsam and Jetsam in a long time. Isn't that the
They're
band?
still kicking.
Didn't Jason Newsted come out of that band when he joined Metallica?
Yes, he did.
Yeah, right on. Okay, favorite team, any sport?
Oh, you're going to hate this. The Toronto Maple Leafs.
Oh,
yeah, you're right.
fine.
We do hate
man.
that. Yeah, that's hateable.
It's fine. Everyone's got crosses to bear. You just chose a real big cross on that one. All right, Terrace.
Yeah. Well, they took our team, so I had to pick someone.
I hear you. It's time to play Who Rocks, brother. Good luck.
Wonderful.
All right, let's go, Terrace. Number 1, Bruce Dickinson is A, a skilled fencer at one time ranked number 7 in Great Britain. B, an experienced runner coming in 27th at the 1991 Boston Marathon. Or C, a gym beast making it to the finals twice on American Ninja Warrior.
I'll go with A.
Yeah. You see him on stage, he does that with his microphone, you know. He gets the old, the rapier stance up there.
The épée.
Yeah, he does that up there, yeah.
That's crazy. That rascal. Number 2. Iron Maiden's original band name was A, Ash Mountain, B, Ashley Judd in Rehab, C, Ash Not What Your Country Can Do For You.
God, I'm going to have to go with A.
All right.
Wow.
Good job, sir.
I'd liked Ashley Judd in Rehab better, but
that would have been a good one.
Terrace number 3. Steve Harris formed the band after leaving his previous band, which was named A, Pile Driver, B, Smiler, or C, Loving John Cryer.
Ooh, I'm going to have to go with B. That sounds familiar.
Yeah, it does.
yeah.
Smiler. Number 4, which one of these titles is not an Iron Maiden song? A, Be Quick or Be Dead. B, The Number of the Beast. C, Mandy Mandy Puppy Face.
C.
B, did you say?
C, as in Charlie.
All right, yes. All right.
C as in Charlie, not B as in Barley.
Yes.
Exactly.
And your last one, Terrace. Iron Maiden's official band mascot featured on album covers, on stage, on T-shirts, and in video games is A, Eddie, a skeletal monster. B, Nellie, a grinning and singing hatchet. C, Franklin, a dancing raisin with bloody fangs.
A, Eddie the Head.
Eddie the Head. He went with the full name. I love it.
It is Eddie the Head. Good
Man,
job.
I tell you what, this is strong. Aldi and Terrace both going 5 for 5 or Cinco for Cinco. As I don't know, someone might call it that. But either way, gentlemen, what we find ourselves in is a tiebreaker. And how that works is Tony Lee is going to ask one question. It will have nothing to do with Iron Maiden. And you will each get a chance to answer. The person closest to the answer will win the tickets. I wish you both luck.
All right, fellas. I bring it to you. How long in minutes does it take to hard boil an ostrich egg?
Aldi, what do you think?
Oh, let's say 40 minutes.
40 minutes. Okay, Terrace, how long in minutes does it take to boil an ostrich egg?
I'll go with 20.
Tony?
Man. Aldi nailed it right on the nose. 40 minutes.
Oh, wow.
How did you know that?
Yes, sir.
Do people do that?
Apparently, Aldi the ostrich farmer does.
I guess.
Yeah.
Man, nailed it. 40 minutes. Terrace, brother, great effort today. That's as close as you can come without cashing in. I'm sorry to say. The tiebreaker tripped you up. Aldi, well played, sir. 5 for 5 plus 40 minutes on the nose. You enjoy your next ostrich egg. I know you'll enjoy the Iron Maiden show October 22nd. Gentlemen, thank you both for playing.
Thank you.
Man, very strong effort from those guys.
Well, yeah.
40
You
minutes.
ask on KQ92 for Iron Maiden aficionados, enthusiasts, you're going to find them, yeah.
Yep.
Man, no question about it. Okay, Gen Xers, of which I guess technically Zepp and I are Gen Xers. Tony, you're just on the other side of the boomer line.
I'm on the cusp.
But I always feel like I'm more of a boomer just because I was raised in a much older family with older siblings. But that's neither here nor there. Let me ask you this. Gen X guys, anytime you talk to them and when people get polls going, absolutely say we have the best music. Any generation, it's ours. The 4 best Gen X dad rock bands, because we're now dad rock to the younger guys. You look at a millennial, they look at us like, yeah, whatever, dad rock. The Big Four, Loudwire.com says these are the Big Four for Gen X rock fans. Tell me what you think. Aerosmith, AC/DC, Van Halen, Guns N' Roses.
Can't argue it.
Yeah,
I know. What's the last time we had one of these where you went, yeah, that's it. That's it. That clicks all the boxes.
I might pull one out and put another one in, but I can't argue this, and that sounds pretty good to me. I'll take it. Aerosmith, AC/DC, Van Halen, and GNR. Yeah.
I have spent a whole lot of time with Aerosmith and AC/DC in my life. A lot of time with Van Halen, and a pretty good amount with Guns N' Roses. Only because with Guns N' Roses, the Appetite all day long. The Illusion records I was hot and cold with, and I literally never listened to much after that. Van Halen, though, a lot. AC/DC and Aerosmith, my God, I mean, countless hours. Yeah, kind of hard to. But then let's go back a little bit. They did a Big Four for Boomer dad rock: Beatles, Eagles, Led Zeppelin, Stones. Now, if you remove the Eagles from that list and put in, for me personally, going back, because I love the Beatles, I love Led Zeppelin, I love the Rolling Stones. Eagles, I like the Eagles. I don't love the Eagles. I saw that list and I thought, for me personally, bands from that era, I could put in the Faces, I could put in Free. I could go a little later in the game and put in Tom Petty. But Beatles, Led Zeppelin, and the Stones to me are sort of givens. I don't know how you get any of those off the Boomer list. Who am I forgetting? If you want to replace the Eagles, because if you like me, you want to replace the Eagles, who do you go with?
I think it's got to be ABBA. I mean, the Who.
You know what?
I sneezed. Sorry.
Right.
Yeah, maybe the Who. Yeah, that's pretty solid.
To that response, I'll say, oh, yeah, duh. Yeah, obviously
I know,
the Who.
I know, but I want an American band on there. I'm a homer, I want one on there and the Eagles just on album sales alone, and longevity, and
Sure.
they reinvented themselves. Like Led Zeppelin, they played around with different styles, and I guess the Beatles did as well, and maybe even the Stones. But I'm comfortable with that. Here's what it is: Boomers, Gen Xer bands. One just led into I wouldn't say that Aerosmith, AC/DC are better than the Eagles and Led Zeppelin, but I would say they complemented them. They were part of that evolution of rock. It was only until we got to the millennials that we were let down, that it became something absurd and whiny. And look at this, AC/DC, party, right? Led Zeppelin, party on. Nirvana. I'm not going to kill myself today. I'll wait until tomorrow. Sing me through it. Just a lot of whiner rock in the 90s, which, by the way, bought me plenty of Pearl Jam, Nirvana, Foo Fighters. I've seen in concert many, many times. Love me some 90s rock, but it is whiner rock, let's be honest.
Yeah, it was. They were sitting around going, "Well, what terrain hasn't been covered?" And they're listening to all their favorite records from childhood. And they're like, "There's not a lot of whining in the original rocker. Not right. Yeah, let's see what happens with that." And boy, did that take off like a
self-loathing, feeling sorry for ourselves. They nailed it. Yeah,
just like it was like Mount St. Helens erupted, and it was called grunge, and washed us over with whining ash. Bastards. Hey, KQ Up North is going down soon. Our friends at Hoffman Weber Construction will be up there with us October 3rd through the 6th at Cragen's Resort on Gull Lake. Join us for a broadcast of the KQ Morning Show. There's going to be a karaoke party, a dinner cruise, live music, and a lot more. Book your stay right now. Go to 92kqrs.com. Sponsored by Hoffman Weber Construction and Cragen's Resort on Gull Lake. I cannot express to you how much fun that trip is going to be. 92kqrs.com. Get your tickets. Let's go. The Minnesota Vikings have a football game this weekend, and they're 1-0. Let's enjoy every moment of undefeated Vikings football while we can. And to do that appropriately, let's have Sam Ekstrom on the show to let us know what we can expect this weekend. Sam Ekstrom coming up. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line, 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show for Thursday, September the 12th. The Minnesota Vikings got a big ball game this weekend as the Niners come to town. Sam Ekstrom is with us on the horn. He's covered the Vikings since 2014, host and executive producer with the Locked On Sports Minnesota Podcast Network. Sam, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Steve. How you doing?
I'm great, my man. Okay, last week you joined us before Game 1, and I said, Sam, give me a pick for the Giants game. And I want to remind you what you said a week ago. Listen to this.
I'm going to go 2019 Vikings find a way. I think the rookie kicker makes one at the end.
All right.
Boy, Sam, nice surprise to see the Vikings just go out and whomp ass all over the Giants. You were expecting a tight ball game, and this thing was never even close to that.
Wow, we've gotten mean around here, haven't we?
Yeah.
Expecting ugliness on both sides, and we only got ugliness from one of the two teams. Fortunately for the Vikings, it wasn't them. That's about as aesthetically pleasing as you could hope for a season opener. The Giants might be a really bad team. I mean, that they look hopeless. Daniel Jones looks completely incompetent. The run game is punchless without Saquon. I mean, that's a bad football team. So that's the grain of salt that I'm going to give it, is that the Vikings beat up on a team they should beat up on. That being said, that's not something they've always been able to do. A lot of times they play down to their competition. So you'll take the 22-point win where you really only had to play 2.5 quarters of hard football and then just kind of manage the clock and not ask Sam Darnold to do too much. Picture perfect opener for Minnesota.
Sam, did you, like me, realize the game was over before kickoff when you saw those Giants uniforms?
I am going to go. I'm going to zig while everyone else is zagging. I thought the uniforms were not as bad as people are making them out to be. I think if the Giants had put together a representative performance, I think that people would have liked them a lot more. I think they're kind of associated with the stench of that performance now, and they probably can't ever wear them again. I thought they were fine.
I'm going to stay with the zag on that. However, I don't think khakis belong anywhere near a football team. When they go with the khaki color, were those cargo football pants also, I think?
It looked like they were bottomless at one point.
Well, get your mind out of the gutter, Lee.
Didn't it?
Yeah, right.
They got a 100-year-old garment. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Sam. All right, Sam, I want to, before we look ahead again, last thing on the game over the Giants, you just mentioned, I mean, picture perfect starter. We couldn't have asked for much more. This is what you told us a week ago when I asked you your thoughts about Sam Darnold looking forward. Talk me off the ledge with Sam Darnold.
I'm not going to come on here and sugarcoat it. I'm pessimistic about Sam Darnold. The deep passing is below average. The third down conversions are so below average. He gets sacked quite a bit. The traditional touchdown to interception ratio is pretty lackluster. There's nothing in the resume that really suggests to me that he's going to do this over 17 games.
Sam, I was watching Sam Darnold. He comes out. He opens up 12 for 12. I'm thinking Starr, Unitas, Brady, Montana. I mean, come on, man. This is one of the great performances of week 1 o'clock games. Yes? No? Where are you with him after that performance?
I thought I broke in and destroyed that audio. I didn't think you had that.
That's unfortunate. We don't know how to keep guests around that we're not paying, do we?
he was great. I'm taking a lot of arrows this week because I've been on the anti-bandwagon of Sam Darnold for the last couple months, and he was exactly what you needed him to be. He only needed to make, I'd say, about 4 high-level throws in that game, a lot of easy stuff, but other than the interception where he got his arm hit, just kept care of the ball. He avoided sacked at a really nice rate, which I was impressed with. I think he only got sacked 1 time, and he was pressured about the same amount as Daniel Jones and only took 1 sack. Jones took 5. So you got to appreciate what he did in that regard. He worked them down the field 99 yards for a touchdown drive. I mean, that's not something you see every day. He had a beautiful deep ball to Justin Jefferson. So while I am not going to declare that I was flat out wrong because it's a long season, and as we've learned, Week 1 conclusions are never usually absolutely correct. So I'm not going to overreact, but I will confess that he was spectacular and he exceeded my expectations.
Way to take it like a man.
I'm excited about it. And now let's move ahead. The Niners are coming in. They had a convincing win over the Jets. A home win, but they're a little dinged up, and we don't really, the Jets have got all this love in the preseason, the great deep roster. Everyone's expecting Aaron Rodgers to be the Rodgers of old, and they went out and they underachieved themselves. That defense really didn't show me too much. So again, early in the season, you don't know if one team looks good or another team looks bad. You don't know what's the more deciding factor. But looking at what you saw from the Niners, how bullish are you about the Vikings at home now against a team that's pretty beat up?
Yeah, I don't know if this matters in the evaluation, but the Vikings have beat the Niners 7 straight times at home, so they've got some good mojo, including last year when they beat them on Monday Night Football at U.S. Bank Stadium. So there's reason to believe that they can win this football game, but the 49ers just do everything well. Yeah. Even when they didn't have McCaffrey on Monday night, they bring in an undrafted, third-year back, Jordan Mason, who goes for 147 and a touchdown. So the running game is still going to be robust. Tight end play, excellent. Wide receiver weapons, excellent. Quarterback, plays at a high level, doesn't make many mistakes. They've got Trent Williams blocking. They've got, the Bosa brother on the line who's going to pressure. They do everything well. They do it. They've got a really smart head coach who designs really good plays. They're super physical. So it's hard to really poke at them and find weak spots. You've just got to play your best game. Vikings turned it over twice against the Giants. That's not going to fly against the 49ers. You're going to have to, at minimum, break even or win that take-give and probably steal the ball from Brock Purdy a couple times. You got to have some things go right. And they also committed 6 penalties against the Giants. You probably can't do that against the 49ers and win. Got to be a clean game. 49ers will not shoot themselves in the foot too often.
Yeah, but Steve talked about being a little dinged up on San Francisco 49ers. Vikings a little dinged up on both sides of the ball. Where's Addison at? It doesn't sound like he's going to play this weekend.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of Kevin O'Connell press conferences, and usually when he starts cautious with an injury report, that usually indicates that they're going to be cautious. And I think he added something on Monday along the lines of, we want to have the long view with Jordan Addison. We want to protect him for the whole season. And that signals to me that he's probably not going to play. He didn't practice yesterday. I think if he doesn't practice today, that's probably the final straw. Very rarely does Kevin O'Connell sit guys 2 days in a row and then have them play Sunday. So I'd be shocked if he did. I think he would have to make progress today. And those ankles, They flare up in the couple days after the game the most, so he's probably been feeling it. I think KOC said he had pretty significant soreness. I'm counting on him not playing. I'm going to assume that Jalen Naylor is your number 2 receiver. Brandon Powell and Trent Sherfield and Tristan Jackson kind of filling it in from there. So you're undermanned at wide receiver, certainly, if you don't have Jordan Addison. That's going to hurt.
Yeah, Hawkinson's still out as well. Then on the other side of the ball, Van Ginkel, the outside linebacker, playmaker. I love him against the 49ers, but he has a foot thing going on, doesn't he?
Yeah, so that's left over from the off season.
Yeah.
They were cautious with him in training camp, and I think this is just a precautionary holdout to nurse that injury and keep him off his feet as much as they can during the week. I don't think it's anything new. Yesterday when KOC talked, he said that the only player he had concerns about was Addison. He did not mention Van Ginkel. So unless something came up just before practice, I think that's mainly precautionary. I think Van Ginkel's going to be good to go, which is good because he was incredible against the Giants, not just with the interception, but with his ability to cover and rush and just be versatile and a Swiss Army knife. Yeah, he's a great player.
If he can't play, if he can't make the squad, if he can't dress up, I think he makes a great Ragnar. If they just put him in the Vikings gear, stick him out on the sideline somewhere, he'd make a hell of a mascot for the Vikings. He is a living Norseman, isn't he, that Van Ginkel?
I'm pessimistic. Oh, man. He could play Thor in the next Thor movie, too. I mean, he's versatile.
Got it going on.
Some good Halloween costume potential with that hair.
Sam Ekstrom's with us on the KQ Morning Show. 49ers head coach Kyle Shanahan. Do you have him on the top shelf of coaches right now?
It's hard not to. You got to give him a lot of credit for the way he's been able to win with multiple quarterbacks, including Jimmy Garoppolo, who I don't think anybody's overly impressed with when he's not with Kyle Shanahan. The turning a 7th-round pick, Brock Purdy, into a Super Bowl quarterback, and they've been able to sustain the success for a number of years now. I mean, this goes back to pre-pandemic where the 49ers were doing this. So you got half a decade run with Kyle Shanahan at the helm. I give him a lot of credit. He's an offensive genius, and he disguises his plays really well. He gets his wide receivers involved in the run game too. Just a lot of talent on that offense, and he knows how to use it.
Sam, we're talking again with McCaffrey out. They brought in a kid named Jordan Mason, no one's ever heard of, a 2022 undrafted running back, and he had a great game. His touchdown during the game, Joe Buck said that's the 40th rushing touchdown by an undrafted free agent for the 49ers since Shanahan took over the game. I mean, he gets the most out of everybody. That running game is a grinder. How do you feel the Vikings' run defense is suited to face this run offense of San Francisco?
Well, that's a great stat, by the way, on the undrafted free agent touchdowns. Based on what I saw on Sunday, I thought the Vikings' run defense looked about as stout and physical as I've seen in a long time. Your edge rushers are pretty good, tacklers in Van Ginkel and Grenard. I think your interior with Harrison Phillips, who just got extended, by the way, and Jerry Tillery added something there. That's another new acquisition. But at the linebacker level, you've got Ivan Pace flying around the field. Ivan Pace is a baller, speaking of undrafted guys. And you bring in Blake Cashman, another new guy, University of Minnesota product. I think that they've got kind of these run-sniffing linebackers and defensive linemen that maybe they haven't had in recent years. I thought they were flocking to the ball, rallying to the ball. Josh Metellus is another one who's got a ton of downhill speed. So I actually like the Vikings' run defense quite a bit. If they're facing McCaffrey, it's a different story than if they're facing Mason, because McCaffrey just punishes you in the pass game as well. Mm-hmm. But it's hard not to be optimistic after what you saw on Sunday. But again, facing Devin Singletary and kind of a punchless Giants offense is a different story than facing the 49ers.
Sam, over the weekend, a Purdue student went down onto the field, and with a chance to win a free car for 2 years, he kicked a 20, a 30, and a 40-yard field goal. If we go on the field right now, I'll let you stretch. You can put on the sneaker of your choice. What's the longest field goal you're confident you could make?
I would make the 20. And again, there's no one trying to block it here, so I can make the 30. No promises on the trajectory.
Okay.
I would I would probably max out somewhere between the 30 and the 40. I've tried a 40 before, like I've hit it perfectly, and it's still short. So I think that's I would probably not get, what was it, free tuition, or what'd you say?
It was a free, you got a car lease for 2 years, free wheels for 2 years.
I would not win. No chance.
Okay. I appreciate your honesty there. Self-awareness is key in all realms, Sam. All right, now it's time. Niners in town this weekend. What's your pick for the game?
I'm going to take San Francisco. I'm going to take them 26-20. I think it's competitive. I think the Vikings show up and gain some respect in defeat, but I'm going to take the better team, San Francisco, 26-20 in a good one.
All right, you know what? If it's a good game and it's competitive and it's less than a touchdown, I'll feel pretty good about that myself. Sam, it's always a pleasure, brother. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks very much. Talk to you next
All right.
week.
See ya.
Niners.
Boy, I love Sam, but he's a little too cocky for that 30-yard field goal for my money. I'm just saying.
I went out there and tried a 20-yarder one time, and it made it to about the middle of the end zone. So they're kicking a football. That's a thing.
No, it's funny. Growing up playing soccer, we would laugh at guys who couldn't hit a 30-yard field goal because we're kicking soccer balls farther. I remember the first time I was like, all right, let me see what's so hard about kicking a football once I was like fully grown. And not an easy thing to do on any level. There's a reason that people miss field goals. It's because you're not supposed to kick a ball that's not round.
Yeah, you're not supposed to do a damn thing with it. I mean, I think the rugby guys got it figured out probably, but I like it. You wonder if they get a little bit of an edge having Sam Darnold in San Francisco. Do they have him figured out a little bit more as far as attacking him? But I'm still liking Darnold and the Vikes. I think the Vikes get her done this weekend against the Niners.
Man, boy, that would be great. I mean, talk about, because they do have this gauntlet. Their next few weeks, they don't get a break. Any win over the next 5 is huge for this team's prospects. I like the bullish Brian Zepp on the Vikings tip. That's pretty strong, man. I like that. I'm happy you said that. I don't think you mean it, but I love that you said it.
No, I just I like the 49ers coming here. They just don't seem to get the job done, and the Vikes always play tough against the 49ers.
That's very true.
Yeah, I like the matchup. Who knows? It's a pick'em on week 2 generally anyway. And if you're going into a pick'em game with the 49ers, this 49ers team, you've got a pretty solid team. We're going to, like I said, find out a lot. What we have the Texans coming in next weekend. Then it's up to limbo.
You can pick up the newly updated 92 KQRS app in your favorite app store or go to 92kqrs.com. The top 5 at 9. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. You're listening to the KQ Morning Show. Steve, Zepp, Tony, and Ryder on 92 KQRS.
Good morning, Bachman Turner Overdrive. Baby, you just ain't seen nothing yet. Randy Bachman wrote that song, was recording it, and started the stuttering business for one reason. Because his brother Gary was in the studio, and Gary had a stutter. And he was doing it, not in a necessarily sadistic manner. He was poking fun at his brother and making his brother laugh. It's a family thing. They had done that. He recorded a version with that stutter. Baby, you just, all that stuff. It was literally done. He gave a version of it to his brother and said, here's your version. Well, there was a dude from the record company there who was like, man, that sounds awesome. That's a hit.
Yeah.
Like, literally, wow. Like, no, I don't care why you're doing it. That's cool. That's unique. Next thing you know, they put it out, and it's a hit, and largely because of that. And it just goes to show, once in a blue moon, a guy from the record company knows what he's talking about.
And that's why Randy Bachman gave his brother a writing credit, so he still gets paid to this day for that. Eases the pain.
It does ease the pain. See, family always comes around in the end.
Did he give him a writing credit?
I don't think so. I don't think so at all.
Brotherly love doesn't run that deep.
No, hell no, it doesn't. But speaking of BTO, we did have a request on the line, a text from Tim, who asked for 2 things. He said, I want some BTO, and give it. Why don't you give a shout out to Delano? And I said, okay, I'll give a shout out to Delano. What's up, Delano?
Delano, hometown of Terry Train.
That's right.
Miss Minnesota forever.
There's going to be a day when I meet that woman in person, and I look forward to it.
Oh, you will. Let's go to her orchard.
Yeah.
There are few people. In fact, I don't think I know of anybody in Minnesota that has more of a just across the board, 2 thumbs up approval rating than Terry Train.
Yeah.
The legend lives on.
Right. Yeah.
The legend lives on as the Chippewa. Wasn't there an Edmund Fitzgerald thing with her back in the day?
Oh, my God, the F. Scott Fitzgerald.
That's it, the F. Scott Fitzgerald. Yeah, that's right. That's great.
Yeah. She loved that song, too, and begged us to play it all the time, and we'd give her the old, it's such a dirge. No one wants to hear that in the morning except in November. Or is it October now? I forget exactly when we would play it on the day of, but and then she's the one that came up with the F. Scott Fitzgerald, and I believe she asked Gordon Lightfoot about the F. Scott Fitzgerald.
That's fantastic. I love that.
Well, Gordon drank like F. Scott Fitzgerald.
Yes, he did. He certainly did. There's a wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald story that is in Lore of the Black Crowes. At the end of the first album tour, we went home to make the second record. So this is like end of 91, early 92. And our singer Chris bought a house. He got his first house, and he bought a stereo that was just phenomenal. Like, it was like a stadium PA volume, but beautiful speakers, turntable, the whole thing. It was great. And my cousin worked for the band for a few years, and Chris left town once, and he said, he said, Jeffrey, watch the house. You got it, man. So then he puts this kid in his house, and Chris returns home from the trip, and Jeffrey is very just devastated to inform him, I think I blew your speakers, which the idea that you could blow those speakers was like, wait, how? What in the hell? And he had just been rocking out in this house by himself, blasting music, and the whole thing came down to and Chris finally said, well, what were you listening to? And Jeffrey just kind of looking down, wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald.
Really, just great.
He was on a roll. He was on a roll, and he was just like, I've never heard it this loud. It's amazing. And then, We just blew the speakers right out.
Worth it.
It's always, we only reminded him of that every day for years. All right, you know what? It's time. Let's do the top 5 at 9. Get your day off on the right foot. Boom. Today, a big day. Well, if you're a billionaire and you like space exploration, the Polaris Dawn is up in space. There's a guy named Jared Isaacman. He is a billionaire, and he and a SpaceX trainer named Sarah Gillis are going to perform the first commercial, non-government ordered spacewalk in the history of space exploration. They're going to float just outside the hatch of the Polaris Dawn rocket. 2 other crew members will be inside monitoring their safety and the oxygen tethers that reach out to them. They're on like a 12-foot umbilical oxygen supply cord, so they won't be free floating, but they will be floating. And the thing I read, it says the point of the spacewalk is to test the suits being worn to make sure that they are easily that we can use them easily to perform basic tasks in space. In the case of billionaire Jared Isaacman, the task he wants to perform, I think, is pretty simple. He wants a drug-free erection. And this is the only way he can think to get one.
Yeah. Well, good luck to him up there. I was thinking about that, though. I like the billionaire at the bottom of the ocean. Of course, he was, I think, down there with his son. It was very tragic. But listen, if we lose a billionaire in space, it's not like a national tragedy like when we lost, some of our shuttle crews and NASA crews in the Apollo missions back in the day. I mean, you lose a billionaire. We got plenty of them laying around.
Well, and he's leaving plenty behind, hopefully. I don't put this on the same, this ain't the Challenger, this ain't Apollo 11 or whatever, or the Mercury, Gemini, all those horrible situations. He's going to float, he's going to come back in, and then he's going to, talk about himself. We all know what's going to happen.
Going up in one of the penis rockets?
It looks like a penis, yeah. It actually does. Including that, oddly enough, the vein on the under... No, never mind. Number 4 in your top 5 at 9, the University of Minnesota has got a new situation on campus. If you are a student, or I guess if you're a member of the administration at any level, you can order food delivered to where you are, and it will be delivered by a personal delivery device, a PDD, or if you prefer, an autonomous robot. Listen to this.
It definitely makes an impact. I want my food quick if I'm hungry, right?
So I'm a college student. I don't have a ton of money, and cost is probably the biggest thing for me. And I just think automated systems such as robots are going to be less expensive than an individual driving their car.
For now, these deliveries will stay on campus. The robots are supposed to stay on the sidewalk, not go faster than 5 miles per hour, and there is an override function for a person to take over just in case.
My daughter goes to school in Virginia. Her campus, James Madison, has had these since she got there 3 years ago. They look like it's a white igloo cooler on 4 wheels, with a little radar antenna, and they just buzz around campus. And you order food from anywhere, from like Chick-fil-A or Subway or whatever, and it comes to your dorm or your building, and you are texted a code. Because I'm always like, well, hang on. When I was a college kid, I don't know how I'd resist not knocking off a robot and like, give me that sandwich. I'm hungry. There's a code you press in that opens the hatch. You have to have that in hand. But my daughter, when she was living on campus, used them all the time. Never a problem. You'll see 2 heading right towards each other. They'll both stop, and then they both turn to the right and they angle away. They never collide. They're aware of other people. They're great. It's kind of like having these cool little, like I said, little white coolers rolling around. They're charming to me.
Yeah, I mean, I like the technology. I like moving forward on these kind of things. But yeah, I'm thinking of the frat rat out there. They have the code already. It's called a crowbar, and you're drunk. And there goes fast food. You know what's in there, but you don't know if it's going to or fro. It could be heading back with an empty load, but we'll see. Also, we're going to be sharing the sidewalk with these things, man. They're going to be staring at their phones, walking down the sidewalks. Yep. We're going to have some bot accidents here, but good luck to everyone.
Number 3 on your top 5 at 9, a study of 4 generations of folks here in America, Boomers, Gen X, Millennials, and Gen Z, all agree in their experience, adulthood starts at the age of 27. 27. That's when you're paying your own bills.
Yeah.
That's when you're financially independent. That's when you are finally putting responsibilities and obligations over simply, in quotes, having fun.
Was this about every decade it moves back 1 year? Because someone told my dad that 2 weeks after you graduate high school, you're an adult. You're paying your own bills. You're out of here, brother.
Oh, hell yeah. Don and Imelda Gorman had one hard and fast rule of parenting, and that is when you turn 18, you pay rent here in this house. Yeah. And let me tell you something. Nothing makes 8 people want to leave home faster than knowing, well, I can pay rent and live with my buddy, or I can pay rent and live at home. Thank you. I'll take the former.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. 27, first kid came for me. So, I mean, I was already paying my own bills and I was out on my own, but I was a slob. But yeah, that first kid has a way of whipping you into adulthood.
I turned 27. That would have been 1992. I was in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania that day.
That a boy.
Playing a gig somewhere. I don't know. So I just know I was in Pittsburgh, and I know that a couple nights before I was in Atlantic City, had the greatest run of my life at blackjack, followed by the greatest ever fallout at a blackjack table. All of a sudden those drinks got like more and more clear as it was just straight vodka, and then all of a sudden I'm like, what happened to all my money? But that was hardly an adult at 27. I'm just saying.
Right.
Number 2 on your top 5 at 9, Purdue University football game over the weekend. They called a kid out of the stands and they said, hey, if you can kick a 20-yard field goal, a 30-yard field goal, and then a 40-yard field goal in 30 seconds, you're going to get a car for 2 years, a free lease from a local dealership. And here's the thing. Zachary Spangler walked on the field and did just that. Kicked a 20, kicked a 30, and then kicked a 40, which is a 40-yard field goal. That is not something the average person is going to just walk in off the street and do. The car dealership reviewed the tape and said, oh, sorry, bud, you were 5/100ths of a second late on your last kick. And they said, hey, in a real football game, the refs would have called that too late. So, this wasn't a real football game. And when people heard they denied him the car, there was some backlash. The car company said, oh, no, we'll give him the car anyway.
Yeah.
They offered him a 2-year lease or $5,000 cash. He's a college kid who already has a car. So, of course, he took the cash. I think it wound up right where it was supposed to.
I think
No, good job for the kid. I'm saying go out there and try to kick a 40-yard field goal, man. It ain't close to easy.
Yeah, no kidding. And I think the car company, the car dealership, forgot that the entire thing was a PR stunt.
Yeah.
It's not about, go ahead and give the kid the money. Give him the 2-year lease. You're going to get him on a technicality on hundredths of a second. This is the Olympics, man. But all's well that ends well.
When I was in college, they used to call out a seat number, and a person would go out and they'd let you shoot from half court. And I don't even remember what you would win if you did, but it was probably $1,000, $500, whatever it was to me at the time, 40 years ago. It was a lot of money. And every game I'd be at the game, and they would call out, and I'd be like, man, I know I could hit a shot from half court. I was at the gym one afternoon. There was a game that night on campus, in the big gym on campus. I'm in there at 2 p.m, and I see a guy, like a 40-year-old dude, who at that time to me is like an old man, and he's got a rack of balls at midcourt, and he is just shooting half-court shots, one after the other, like 10 of them. And I just thought it was an odd thing to see. That night at the game, they called out a ticket number. It was that guy.
Oh.
The fix was in.
Yeah, big time.
Did he get it?
No, it didn't even come close. And I, as a young lad, was foaming at the mouth over the injustice of it all. I was still good. I'm going to change the world. And I knew the assistant athletic director at my college, and I walked into her office the next day, and she goes, hey, what's up? I go, I saw that guy. I gave her the whole story angrily, and she's sitting at her desk, and I'm going, and then sure enough, that's the guy. So he knew he was going to get called, and that is bull. I sit there, blah, 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 and she looked at me, and I stopped talking, and she goes, grow up. That's what she said. She literally looked at me and just went, grow up.
Yeah.
And all I could think was, I think I'm supposed to turn around and leave now. So that's what I did. I had nothing to say. Like, oh, crap.
Yeah, she probably had a stack of real issues on her desk. Dad used to always say there's the way it is and there's the way it ought to be. So, yeah, you fought the good fight, man. Those are the college years.
Power to the people, man.
Right on.
Yeah, I mean, we all have our causes. Mine was I wanted to shoot a ball from half court. Finally, number one on your top 5 at 9, and this is real, and this is a wonderful thing. John Bon Jovi was in Nashville, Tennessee yesterday shooting a music video. There is a bridge in town, the John Siegenthaler Pedestrian Bridge. It connects downtown from like Broadway, First Avenue, where all the bars and honky-tonks and everything are, and it crosses the river right by the stadium where the Titans play. And that bridge is usually full of people all day long, every day. Yesterday, Bon Jovi's on the video, on the bridge, shooting a music video, and he sees a woman about to jump off. She is about to try to throw herself into the river to kill herself, and John Bon Jovi walks up, chats with her for a few seconds, puts his hand on her, and then she decides to come back over onto the pedestrian area. He talks her out of jumping off the bridge and brings her over, spends a few minutes with her. John Bon Jovi just walking around saving lives.
Yeah, attaboy, John.
Nice effort, brother. Well done.
And absolutely no truth to the rumor that the reason she was going to jump was because of the John Bon Jovi song they were playing on that bridge. That's not true.
No. Ugly rumors, all of them. He's a lozenge away from being right back where he ever was. Make no mistake about it. But no, that's truly spectacular. And there's footage of it. I mean, there's security cameras that captured it. This is not a PR stunt. He was the right guy at the right place, and sincere hat off, slap on the back, and a hearty high five to JBJ.
Get the KQ Morning Show podcast wherever you listen. 92 KQRS.